So, Mark, did you see that our resident toucan Marsh finally was rescued? He's been flying around the valley for months. Toucans are not supposed to be in Vegas. Somebody asked if they captured him with Fruit Loops.
Dang it, you stole my joke.
So one of the cooler things that happens in Vegas is people perform here and then they become legendary and then they get their own streets named after them. Frank Sinatra comes to mind. Of course, Penn and Teller was probably the most recent one we talked about at Rio last year. And now Bruno Mars is getting his own street at Park MGM. I know the joke you're going to make, Mark, but this is the street that runs. Again, I already know your joke. This is the street that runs outside the Park MGM, T-Mobile Arena, all of that right there. Park Avenue is what it's currently called now, and it will be turned into Bruno Mars Drive.
Yeah, I don't think this is that. This is more just if you lose enough money, they'll name a street after you, right?
Yes, that's the joke. This is actually a cool street, though, I think, because it has the park on one side. You have the big theater on the other side of the arena there. It's actually like a picturesque kind of cool street if you had to pick one. Better than Penn and Teller's street that they gave that little inlet into Rio.
Well, I mean, it's the Rio, so it's just, you're not working with as much cool stuff. But no, I think this is both of our favorite little street on the Strip. It's kind of peaceful. It feels otherworldly when you get back off the Strip. It doesn't even seem like you're there. It's never overly busy unless there's something going on at T-Mobile and little restaurants, water fountains, features, trees, all that stuff, shade. It's if you were walking and just wanted to read a book, this is where you would go.
Yeah, and there's so few streets like that in Las Vegas, if you think about it, that this is a special one. I mean, I don't know if I had to pick one. I mean, the only thing is the length, right? And this is a nonsense discussion, but like Frank Sinatra Drive is miles long. So is that get into your ego that you want a longer street?
I mean, he just had to lose more money and then he'd get a long street.
Maybe he'll eventually end up with like 5 or 6 a quart a drive a street. Oh my God. Sorry. I love Bruno Mars. One of the greatest songwriters of the last 20 years.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's amazing and just not at gambling. Do you think Chris Angel gets a driveway named after him? The driveway to his garage sale?
All right, let's pivot to, Las Vegas has grown up as far as aviation goes. Lots more direct flights. Air France just launched their direct flight to Paris. And now we learned that Qantas will be flying direct from Sydney to Las Vegas. This is their 101st destination, their 8th in North America. And they're going to be doing seasonal service for their summer. So from December to March 26 into 27. I'm very excited about this. I don't know why. I mean, I hope I can get on. I haven't been to Australia in a while. Maybe this is what's going to get me back on a Qantas plane to go do it.
Yeah, I think it's great for anybody that lives in Vegas or lives on the West Coast. I don't know that it's so great for people coming from Australia. I wouldn't want to leave Australia in the summer, I guess, unless you live in like the deserty area of Australia and it's super hot and you want to come and cool off a little bit. But it's perfect timing for you guys to go over there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Australian summers, I've been there in the summer. You go to the Outback and Adelaide, some of those places, it's insanely hot. But yeah, I mean, this is more leisure for them to come to Vegas. The big question is, can Vegas drive enough traffic over to Australia to keep this route successful? It's going to be 3 times a week. I hope it's successful. I hope we see more of this. I've really loved seeing in the last few years, more and more overseas flights direct to Vegas. It's a huge difference as somebody who lives here.
Yeah, I think it makes it a lot easier. You don't have to connect anywhere. And even if you're flying, like you said, the Air France flight to Paris, that's like the perfect timing. You get more time on the plane. If you do have miles and you book in business class, you can kind of ease into it and get a good amount of sleep. If you're flying from the East Coast, that flight's so short and the time it leaves, you don't really get any rest. So it works a little bit better coming from the west side of the country.
We do have an update on the Implosion. We talked about the Implosion at Eastside Cannery that's going to happen March 5th at 2 a.m. and how there's no public viewing area and how people just tend to show up anyways. But if you have anxiety about that, the Longhorn Casino wants you, and this is the casino right across the street. Just directly across the street from the site. They have they're going to charge $25 for parking, and you can buy your ticket ahead of time. And if you go in with your parking ticket, they're going to give you $20 in free slot play. I think this is really good, and it just allows you to get a spot. They don't have unlimited parking there, and also hotel rooms for $250 where you can see it. I know John Mahaffey says he booked a room. He's going to stream it. This has to be the highest rate ever charged at the Longhorn Casino.
I was going to say, do you think they ever got anywhere near $250? I know you get, I think, $100 in free play, so at least you get a little something back, but they are taking full advantage. This is going to be the biggest night in the history of their casino, I feel like.
You know, it's we make fun of Longhorn, but it is one of those casinos of the past, the smaller scale casino. Eastside Cannery actually replaced Nevada Palace, which was another type of those casinos. So I'm glad to see Longhorn getting some love, getting some attention. I always park there when I go do these video shots of the Eastside Cannery over the years, as it's been decrepit and all that sort of stuff. I think that this is great. This is the first time where it's just like, you pay us the $25. You can do it ahead of time too to make sure you get the tickets. But if you want, Mahaffey says he's going to stream it from his hotel room, so you can go to the Vegas Advantage YouTube channel and see his video. He did the same thing for the Trop Implosion.
Yeah, I don't know if I could fork over the $250. I wonder if you're guaranteed like a view, a good view. Wouldn't that stink if you pay $250 and you get like a back end view or something?
There's just a parking lot in the back, so hopefully not. That would be the ultimate bait and switch. It is Boulder Highway, so anything's possible. Well, one of the trends of the last year has been the Sphere just killing it. I mean, just killing it with announcement after announcement, successful show, The Wizard of Oz, and we can finally say the bankruptcy bulb is successful. It does seem like they are lights out, but they keep going, and they announced Metallica at the Sphere. Life Burns Faster is the name of the residency. They're going to have 8 shows. I bet they'll add more, but in October. And this is something interesting, kind of like what Phish did. Each set of shows will be no repeat weekends, meaning if you attend both the Thursday and Saturday shows, you will not hear the same song twice.
Do you think this becomes the most expensive ticket in Sphere history? I mean, Metallica's a huge band. They have a huge following. I already have some friends in a chat a sports chat that brought this up randomly, not even like a Vegas chat, that they want to go to it. And since there is so few shows initially announced, I wonder if this will be the most expensive ticket they've ever done.
I know the Backstreet Boys initial shows were crazy in demand, and the ticket prices were insane. Obviously, Backstreet Boys have added more and more and more and more shows. They just added even more, I think, a couple days ago, and I expect that we'll probably see this. So yeah, in the beginning, I would expect high prices. I don't know if they dethrone the Backstreet Boys, though. The demand for that has been insane, and it seems like people leave there very joyful. And I've heard from just tons of people who are not Backstreet Boys fans who love it. Metallica, though, I think this is more of a modern version of rock compared to some of the acts we've seen. I think it's going to be huge. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it will be well received. They have always been kind of visionary and stuff, so I think they'll put together a good show, a good set list, good visuals, all that stuff. I can't wait to see some video from the inside and what they come up with.
We're going to talk about how Plaza is streaming their gamblers in just a second, but I would love to invite you guys to subscribe. Thousands of you who watch the show each week aren't, and it will help us reach more people. We're about to 60,000. Help us get there on our road to more. Thanks in advance. But let's talk Plaza. We talked on the recent show, Park MGM, how they had that new streaming setup in their high limit room. And that's specifically for influencers, I guess. But Plaza, their new non-smoking, I guess it's not new now, Mark. It's been a few years since it opened. It was Brian Christopher's slots. And then we talked about how they lost that branding. But it was always sort of set up to be, I don't know, online centric. And now they've set up this new streaming room with Vegas Live Casino Network. And you can go to YouTube and watch people gamble in this room. I watched some of the videos and it just seems like normal people. And I think they do a good job with the production and changing the angles and stuff.
Yeah, I think they do. I hope everybody is well aware of what's happening, because I'm sure some people don't want to end up on a video, and other people probably think it's super cool and unique and go in there because of it. And I imagine they have a whole bunch of signs or something, or maybe they even are explained what's happening. So it's kind of fun. I wonder, do you think a lot of people will sit there and watch it?
They're not getting a ton of views now. I think some of the stream that I looked at had like 500 views. I don't know. I think a lot of people follow influencers for their personalities. And so we know that this type of content has a huge audience, but are you going to just watch random people kind of drop in on random people on a Saturday afternoon playing there? I don't know. But I imagine some of the streamers or some of the influencers will start to use this room too. And maybe that will help boost it. But again, we talked about this with the Park MGM. Casinos have changed so much. It used to be in 2020, you went down to Primm, you grabbed a little camera, you got yelled at by Bob and got kicked out. Look at what's happened now. The whole world has changed.
What's up, Bob?
What's up, Bob? But let's talk food, Mark. There's a lot of like small food stories that we put together, starting with this Re-Raw ice cream cake that you saw a couple weeks ago. I went to their website. I could not find the price. I couldn't find the dessert menu anywhere for some reason on their website, but this looks great.
No, and I just like to point out Re-Raw. I think it's a great restaurant. A lot of people know about it. It's in the mall right off of Mandalay Bay, but it is always a good time, good food, decent prices, very Irish feeling in there. I think they do a good job of making it feel pretty authentic. And this ice cream cake looks insane.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite Irish pub in Vegas. I just love it. And usually the servers are from Ireland, or they're You know, you kind of get the whole atmosphere there. They have live music. It's a great place. Next up on this food list is Sgrizzi, and this is a somewhat new restaurant down in Blue Diamond and Rainbow from Chef Mark Sgrizzi. And we saw Vital Vegas was there. He did some sort of a parking lot pizza thing. The chicken parm looks divine.
Yeah, I think all the food looks great, and I love when there's like a little outdoor pizza oven, and he's in there cooking them up. And oh man, I got to check that place out for sure.
I've heard only good things about it, and I even deep dived in the reviews because I had heard about this restaurant but today, and it just seems like the reviews are over the top good. Reminder that we have some very, very good restaurants in Las Vegas that are not on the Strip. This seems to be one of them. Next up, we talked about the 6-7 promotion at Lucky Pig, and that is $6 bowls from 6 to 7 p.m. every day. Pretty good deal. But in researching on the last show, I came across they have dollar dumplings on Wednesdays, Mark, and you buy them in groups of 3. So $3 for 3 dumplings. I mean, this place is killing it with the deals over at New York, New York.
Yeah, that's a fantastic deal. I love myself some dumplings. They look like soup dumplings too, which have gotten super pricey, even though they probably shouldn't be. So if that's the case, then even better. But even traditional dumplings, I would probably eat a ton.
And a lot of people commented on the last show saying that they enjoyed the food there for what that's worth. Now, here's a sad food story related to Las Vegas. Hurdy-Gurdy tweeted out about the new breakfast for Hyatt Globalist at Rio. It used to be in Hash House, and then remember they have the new restaurant kitchen table, and I guess they've come up with this buffet. And I hope there's more than what he put in these pictures, Mark, but those eggs, oh my God, those eggs look terrible.
It looks like a Hampton Inn or a Hyatt Place buffet, not what you would expect in Vegas. And what do they charge? $22, $23 for this? Who's paying $23 for this?
You missed the headline. Rio has a buffet again. They brought the buffet back to Rio. Forget the Carnival World. Forget the Carnival World. I mean, this is a property that has such a legacy that's maybe insulting that they do that. But either way, this is going to be a big downgrade if you want a real cooked meal. If you're staying there as a Hyatt Elite, it's definitely a downgrade from what you used to get. And they tried some form of a buffet a couple years ago too. So this isn't the first time. I don't know of any hotel that's changed their breakfast thing more times in 3 years than Rio has.
Yeah, it's been crazy how often they're changing it. It just keeps getting worse and worse. Pretty soon it'll just be a continental breakfast where they have a 3-day-old cinnamon roll waiting for you at the front desk.
You watch the show, now get the merch. MTM Vegas Classic merch is for sale now. Hats, hoodies, shirts, go grab them now. mtmvegas.shop. And thanks for supporting the channel. One last food story. The James Beard America's Classics Award was given out, and they chose 6 restaurants from different regions of the country. And the restaurant that won for the Southwest was Bob Taylor's Ranch House, which a lot of people don't know about. This is the oldest steakhouse in Las Vegas. It dates back to the 50s, and it's basically where the 215 is, way in the north side of the city. It used to exist out there like as this ranch, and there was nothing around it for miles. Now it's suburban sprawl. I haven't been there in a few years, but it used to be a great place to go. And it still has that sort of ranch feel, even if you're surrounded by houses and freeways and all of that. And it's a great, unique place to go if you want some Vegas history. Glad to see it being recognized.
I noticed they stole the paneling from my basement when I grew up.
Haven't been in a while, but yeah, it felt very much like you're going into a house. I mean, I used to eat there. I mean, I've probably eaten there 10 times over the years. We used to eat there quite a lot when we lived up in the north. The prices used to be really good compared to other places. Then it kind of got more expensive. So I don't have anything to say about it in the last few years, but it used to be very unique, well known for their like garlic bread. And yeah, I've always had a good meal there. And it's just very different than any other steakhouse you'll get in Vegas.
It doesn't look, at least from the pictures I looked at, it doesn't even really look like Vegas when you walk up. It looks more like New Mexico-esque, and they have a long walkway to it. It does look kind of like a house that you're going into, and it feels very homey and comfortable and dated, but in the best way possible. If you're up in that area, I would check it out.
So another follow-up from a previous show with Wynn and their hack, they did disclose that the hackers have deleted the data, Mark. They did not disclose if they paid the ransom. I'm guessing they did, and they will eventually have to disclose to the SEC what they actually did. They did get credit monitoring for their employees. Again, they're saying that it was employees' data that was leaked, not customer data. And so they're doing credit monitoring and all that sort of stuff for their employees. But basically, they're saying that the data's been deleted and nothing else. So they paid the ransom, probably.
Why wouldn't you just come out and say it? And versus when you have to release it later on, it becomes a story again. Just get all out in front of it and let it die, and everybody will move on.
Yeah, or maybe they just want us to believe that they had the most benevolent hackers in the history of hackers that took the data, but then they just decided to delete it magically. Well, speaking about magic, let's talk about the A's funding and a little update on that as well, because GLPI, they came in, they're the owners of the land, and they talked about Bally's and what Bally's is required to do. It's very interesting that their president, Brandon Moore, says they're still waiting for more from Bally's he basically said they released a bunch of renders and stuff, but we're waiting for more. We may be willing to participate in funding this, and that's a good sign, I think, for people who want it all done. Like we've said time and time again, the powers that be are not going to allow this not to happen. That's my opinion, but for the first time, it seems like GLPI is saying we may step up to help fund the parking garage, the plaza that Bally's has to build, and the infrastructure that they promised, which again does not include the hotel and casino, and that probably won't come for many years, if not ever.
I still find it crazy that they have to build a power plant that the A's will probably use more than anybody else. I know that was probably intended for the casino, the hotel, all these things. But the fact that the A's are relying on someone else to give them power just kind of blows my mind a little bit.
And remember that Bally's is paying, what, $10.5 million a year in rent for that land. The A's get to be there rent-free. They get their stadium rent-free. So it's like weird that Bally's is in this position. But I guess the idea being at some point they could build a casino and make a lot of money.
But it's Bally, so.
Well, speaking of casinos that make a lot of money, my transitions are on point today. Primm for trim.
Yes.
Somebody sent me this. Tell me what you think about this, everybody out there, because it's not online yet, but I did get word of perhaps Primm is for sale. This is what I have. I don't have any more information. I don't have a price, but this listing does say 191 acres at the California-Nevada state line. I did some deep diving with AI, and so I didn't actually go into Google Earth and measure all this, but it said it was about 185 to 195 acres for the 3 casinos. So this seems to be for all of the land. It doesn't mention the casinos in there. It does mention 3 gas stations and other stuff, but it calls it a redevelopment opportunity. Are they selling Primm?
I mean, it feels like Schitt's Creek. Selling the town.
A few more rooms though.
Yeah. No, but yeah, it'd just be like, hey, we're going to sell Primm. Here you go. Come and get it. It would be amazing if somebody did buy this and kind of redeveloped it and made it a destination of it in and of itself that people would either leave Vegas for or stop on their way. I think there's potential there, especially if the airport, once it comes and they're bringing people out that way. I do think you need to create some type of housing, some type of infrastructure around it for it to really be successful. But maybe they can get it super cheap and Primm for trim will work.
And remember we talked 6 months ago or so that there was some other parcels of land right by the freeway with a different owner that were for sale. This does not seem to be that. You can see the picture. It does seem to be the casinos proper, but there is other land there that's owned, that's not BLM land, that's owned. I think it would be cool to see Primm get fully redeveloped as we march towards the airport. I just think it has to be a little while because the airport's probably 10 years away. This will be somewhere that I think will flourish when the airport, it says here 1.5 miles to the airport. I thought it was 5 miles or something, but I guess it's 1.5 miles to the new airport. I mean, a whole city is going to boom out there.
Yeah, and that's going to be built in place. Airport hotels, you're going to need it. People staying before their flight, or if they come in late, they just want to crash, or maybe save a little bit of money on the night they're coming in or out of town and not having to pay the prices in Vegas. I think it will work out really well, and there's definitely potential here for somebody to do something with it that will be successful and make them a lot of money, I think.
If you have any information about this sale, again, this was just sent to me, but it is not on the broker's website yet, so it's maybe so new. But I do have reason to believe this is true. I don't know what the price is. If you have any more information, let us know. But maybe finally we'll see something there. Let us know down in the comments. The Implosion, are you going to go there? $25 a car. Is Longhorn ripping people off? Bruno Mars Drive. Everything else we discussed in this show, leave a comment. We do 3 shows a week, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And we'll be back in a couple days with another show. Thanks so much for watching. Shout out to Eduardo Ruiz, our executive producer. Talk to you next time.
Thanks, Eduardo. Thanks, everybody. Have a good weekend.